On today's question of faith, should you go to Mass on the 4th of July? Hey everybody, this is Question of Faith. I am Mike Hayes. I am the Director of Young Adult Ministry in the Diocese of Cleveland.
And I'm Christy Cabaniss, the Director of Missionary Discipleship.
And I'm Father Eric Garris, Director of Vocations.
Woo! So Father
Why
Damian...
you both give the woo.
Father Damian on special assignment today.
That's right. I've been the Father Damian fill-in before, but we were talking before that this cast of characters has never existed. I called it a trifecta, but I don't know if we want to be the Trinity. I don't know what we want to be.
A cast of coolness, for sure.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Yes, very nice. Happy 4th of July, first of all.
And with your spirit.
Thank you.
Isn't that how you respond to everything?
That's right. Just to make, I always say to make it a little less weird.
Nothing's weirder than
less weird.
Try to get that into the lexicon.
Right. The force be with you.
Exactly.
And with your spirit.
Yeah. Call George Lucas. Tell him put that in the next movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so should a Catholic go to Mass on the 4th of July?
Sure.
Why not?
And on the 5th.
And on the 5th, yeah.
Right.
The 6th.
That was actually my first reaction. My first reaction was, well, you can go to Mass every day.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that, if you really wanted to. So why are we singling this day out? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's one of those days where obviously we're home, or most people are home. And Christy and I were talking before, like that whole notion of should. Now, I think of like the implication of like, do I need to go on the 4th? It's not a holy day of obligation. But you're home, you're with family, it's a nice way to start the celebration. I always loved like being in the parish, like the national holidays, that we would have one Mass. There's a different kind of vibe of the Mass, because you do have a lot of families who are coming and let's get up, let's go to Mass, let's have breakfast, let's have a cookout. So it can be a good way of celebrating.
It reminds me that my parish, and my childhood parish, I should say, I don't ever remember going to Mass on the 4th of July, unless it fell on a Sunday, and then I remember they really did it up for one reason or another. But Thanksgiving was always like a really big Mass, which seems a little more obvious, right? But they would bring brass, they would do all kinds of, music was heightened, it was like a really high church kind of an experience. But my friend Christa Alberta is going to have a little outdoor afternoon event as you listen to this, we're probably there right now, at her place, and she's going to have Mass. She's going to start the day with Mass. Father Dominic Gideon, one of our newly ordained priests, is going to come out and do Mass for her.
Good.
So that's great. Christy, what do you think?
I think that it's a great thing to do. I think that we just need to be careful about mixing our faith with any kind of nationalism, because, I think sometimes I've heard friends get these convoluted, and, we are blessed to be in the United States and have the freedom to worship our Catholic faith the way that we would like, and I think that's a blessing. But we need to remember that the folks in France are doing what they're doing, and folks in Africa are doing what they're doing, and people in Southeast Asia are having whatever they're having. So it's not that the United States has some kind of corner on the market of worship and our independence as a nation. And so I think that, like, I was joking a little bit at the beginning whenever we said, should we go on the 4th? Yeah, we should, and go on the 5th and the 6th. Any chance to worship the Lord is a gift to us. And I think to pray for our country, this is a good moment to take that pause. And I think any of those like national holidays that you have, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, those give you an opportunity to say what a gift it is that we live in the U.S., and then also to pray for our nation as a whole and all of the things that we struggle with.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think on the 4th, there's a particular kind of focus on freedom. And obviously it's our Declaration of Independence. We're independent from, previous ruling nations, and we're free, we're Americans. And I do always love, by the way, like the American shirts that come out at this time of like Teddy Roosevelt riding a T-Rex with like a bald eagle on his arm, drinking beer, whatever. Like, it's like, this is what it means to be American. But like that whole notion of freedom too, we realize that yes, we as a nation have particular freedoms. We have freedom to assemble and the freedom of speech and freedom to celebrate our religion. But like our truest freedom does not come from a declaration signed in the 1700s.
Right.
It comes from Christ. So like St. Paul talks all about like, for freedom's sake, Christ set us free.
Yeah.
And so it's not just freedom from a nation, freedom from an oppressive ruler, but like our deepest form of freedom is freedom from sin, freedom from death, freedom from all the things that can bind us. And Christ said, I came to free you from that, not just to give you a day to blow off fireworks and America, so I think that's even too, like to know that every day in many ways, every mass is a celebration of freedom, independence. Christ came to bring us freedom from sin.
Yeah.
And I think our founding fathers sort of give a nod to that, even in our documents, right? We have inalienable rights endowed by our Creator, and God we trust, all these things. And so we kind of point to that. We forget that, most of our founding fathers were religious. Maybe not all of them.
Some semblance of...
Yeah, they had some semblance of
a
that.
version of it. Yeah, I think sometimes we also get that convoluted a bit where we overstep what they were working towards. I mean, deism is not the same thing as Christianity.
Correct.
So that's what I get nervous about is I had a priest friend that used to say, people think that the church was invented the day they were born. By that meaning, that their experience is... by and large, everyone's experience, and that's what it's been like since time began. And, Jesus wasn't, walking around Jerusalem yelling, America, someday there's going to be a nation of individuals, nothing like that. So remembering, and I think sometimes even with our Constitution and our government set up the way that it is, it can be extremely individualistic, and that is not who we're called to be as Catholics, right? We're called to unity with one another, and community is part of this. So I think worship at Mass could be a great unifier.
Right. And praying, sense. I mean, the Mass of the day it's a particular Mass that's celebrated in the United States in the Missal, but all of the prayers, all of the orations are directed towards, being united as a nation and being united as a people of faith and praying for America. And I think that's part of it too, is like when we go to Mass, obviously we're participating in the one Mass offered, throughout the world, throughout time. But there's also this notion of, we believe that this is an opportunity to pray for our nation and to say, okay, we're going to come together on this day in which we celebrate so much, but we recognize we're not a perfect nation, and there's immense forms of division and oppression and poverty and hurt and pain, and to say, like, we can't unite this, but we bring this all to Christ and pray for who we are as Americans and who we are as people of faith.
Yeah. A good example, too, I think, is so I'm from New York originally and lived through 9/11 and lost friends that day, right? And I wrote an op-ed for the Buffalo News one year right after Osama bin Laden was killed. Oh. And the title of the article was "Can we find it? Can we find a way to forgive bin Laden?" I think was or "Can we forgive Osama bin Laden?" Something like that. And and people were like, how could you be so cavalier about forgiveness of these people? I'm like, because that's who we're called to be as Christians. As hard as that might be. I said, look, when my friends were killed, when the towers fell, when my friend who was the first-class flight attendant on United 93, when she was dead, the whole thing, yeah, I wanted those guys dead. One of my friends said he took his flight simulator game and bombed half of the Arab world in a simulation because he was so upset, right? And when I go back and reflect on that, I see that I'm becoming like the hatred that these terrorists were putting out there. I don't want to be that way. And so forgiveness doesn't mean that what they did was just A-okay, right? It means it was really horrible, but it also means I don't want to move in that direction. And I won't let this moment dictate my next 10.
Right. And who does that? I mean, Christ is the one that changes our hearts. I think it's Eucharistic prayer 2 for reconciliation. That in a world torn by strife, your people may shine forth as a prophetic sign of unity and concord. Yeah. And it's like it's only Jesus that brings about reconciliation, and it's only Jesus that brings about freedom. Obviously, our freedom that we have is a participation in that, but it's not the freedom that we're given just merely that we celebrate on that day.
Yeah, prayer changes us. Right?
Yeah.
I hope.
So go to Mass and pray.
Go to Mass and
be
pray.
changed.
Yeah, and be changed.
And it changes the world, too, right? Like, I mean,
right.
this is God entering into the human story in a very real and radical way once again.
Yeah, we just the Vatican just put this document out on social media that I was part of. We've been talking about this the last couple of weeks, and one of the things that another group had said in criticism of the document, which I thought was a really valid criticism, they said, well, how would any of this stuff that you're talking about, like having the freedom to have social media and to say whatever you want on it, how would that work in North Korea?
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
they're like, we forget people don't have many of the basic freedoms that we have in many parts of the world. So pray for that today, too, as well.
Yeah. And go because you can.
Yeah.
And it's not
Right.
just should. I mean, that's
Right.
what I was saying
Right.
before. Like, are we getting into, like, I'll be the resident armchair philosopher here because I have my undergrad in, and Father Damian will be happy when he listens. But, like, getting into the nature of freedom, is it to do what I want? Is it to do what I should? Is it to do what I ought? John Paul says it doesn't just exist in our ability to do what we want, but do what we ought. And ordered within the human heart is a desire to participate in what is good, what is true, and what is beautiful. And what's good, what's true, what's beautiful? Mass. So
The
go on the
Mass.
4th on July.
Yeah,
Amen.
And in reflection, I think that the Ignatian tradition there, what have I done for God? What am I doing for God? What ought I do for God?
Right.
That's the next step. Always, the firm purpose of amendment to change and to figure out what I need to be doing.
Can I hijack and ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fireworks, yay or nay?
Ooh,
Yay!
really? Oh, the Navy person, of course.
See, I love
Well,
fireworks.
I don't even think that has to do with my naviness. I just think that it has to do with, like, that is one of the coolest experiences ever. I mean, they can be really loud.
Right.
The crowds I hate, but I'm just saying, like, man, that they can put chemicals together and explode them into the sky and have
Into
them make
hearts.
colors and
Yeah.
shapes. And I love those chasey ones with the glittery stuff.
Oh yeah,
well, I'm a girl, so.
they rain. Yeah, I love not many things in life bring me as much joy as fireworks.
Really?
So fun.
Oh yeah, like both setting them off and watching them.
I mean,
And I don't know if we cut that because isn't it illegal to set off fireworks in Ohio?
I don't know, but
I don't
I'm not a
think
fan
so.
of the backyard stuff because you will blow your finger
Yeah,
off. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure.
Be careful.
I'm going to be
Yes.
the shoot your eye out girl.
Yeah, but I mean, living downtown, if the Guardians have like a firework night and I'm not at the game or I'm doing something, I will ride my bike down there and just sit there
Oh, wow.
and smile at the sky as I watch things.
I would say I haven't weighed in on this, so I enjoy watching fireworks, especially at a ballpark. Actually, that's one thing I like doing. However, as a dog owner,
Oh yeah.
it is scare the heck out of the dog day, July 4th. So,
Yeah.
so we're going to an afternoon party for that reason, so we can get him home and
Get a thunder coat on him and
yeah, something. Yeah, I mean, he's a little guy, so probably, he's new. We just got this new dog, and he has these giant ears, so he hears very, very well. So
poor
it's
baby.
probably going to be a rough night for him, is my guess.
Rough.
But very nice. But
I always, whenever I'm
Christy
watching,
will be here all week.
yeah, whenever I watch fireworks, I listen to "America the Beautiful" by Ray Charles.
Oh, yeah. I like
Not
that.
just because it's such a good song, but I think of the movie The Sandlot, where they're
right.
kids,
Yes.
and they're going off and they're riding their bikes. I'm like, I like feel like I'm in that movie, and there's just some nostalgia there. 90s kid here,
Exactly, right.
wishing that I was Benny the Jet Rodriguez or whatever. So.
They're actually killing me, Smalls.
Yeah.
Where are we going to go for our church search this week? You had one fun
how
there,
about St. Michael's
St. Michael's?
in Independence?
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, Independence Day. So St. Michael's in Independence is they have a new administrator there, Father Matt Jordan, who is my classmate. And so Father Matt just replaced Father John Malee, who was there for a little bit. Father Tom Heron is in residence. I know that they have the merged school with St. Basil's, and so they're holding it down on that side of Cuyahoga. But I know that Independence, the city itself, always has big home days celebration, their namesake. So shout out to the good people of Independence.
Yeah.
Who's all of us. We're all people of independence,
And-
right? People of freedom, especially the people of St. Michael's.
And the patron there of St. Michael to pray for us.
Yeah,
So
defender in battle.
That's right.
Now, this is another question. Are you cast, or what is the other one? By the power of God, thrust. Are you cast or thrust into hell? Satan and all evil spirits. This is another question of faith.
I think this is probably, we'll bring it back.
On today's question of faith, how do you pray the prayer of St. Michael?
Cast or thrust. I don't know.
Yeah. You hear different ones.
Huh. That's
I
interesting.
don't know it well enough to say.
Yeah.
I don't think I've noticed. Like I've prayed it, but I don't think I've noticed
some
that
people say.
cast
It depends
or
on
thrust.
how I'm feeling.
I guess.
Just like, cast, go away, or like push, like
right.
thrust, I'm sending you down.
Interesting.
Next time.
Next time on Question of Faith. And then finally, our readings for this coming week for the 14th Sunday of Ordinary Time. Book of Zechariah is the first reading. This spoke out to me. His dominion shall be from sea to sea, from the river to the ends of the earth. Sort of what you were talking about before, Father Eric, is that God is the one who gives us the freedom.
From sea to shining sea.
His dominion is the one that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah. I think, too, in this reading, it struck me about that it seems to me that he's taking away all of the governmental elements so that there isn't one nation, but all nations together under one God. So
Very nice.
That's good. I love the gospel. It's the Matthew one. The come to me, all you who labor, heavily burdened, I will give you rest. But my prayer a lot of times is I'll sit down and say, hey, you said come to me with your labors and burdens. I'm doing that. Now you have to do your part and give me some rest. But it's that whole sense of not just the agrarian being yoked, but really adopting the worldview of Jesus. How does Jesus view the situation? How does Jesus view my labors and burdens? And also to the little ones. Shout out to the little ones. That's also in there.
That's right.
Yeah, you have revealed these to not to the wise and the learned, but the little ones who are just kind of like, this is great.
let's do it.
A spiritual director that I once had said, don't be afraid to vent to God. God can take it.
Yeah.
It's fine. He's all powerful. He's good.
Yeah, people always say I'm angry with God. I'm like, what, did you tell God that? Peter did.
Yeah.
Like it's not, all this. No, I'm going to bring this all to you. I'm going to invite you all into it.
And then when you get tired of venting and you've said all you need to say, sit back and listen. Mm-hmm. And what does Jesus have for us in this moment? As one friend speaks to another, as we often say in the Ignatian tradition, talk to God as one friend speaks to another.
Heart speaks to heart.
Exactly. All good. Well, this has been fun on the lovely 4th of July. Anything that you're doing special that day besides watching fireworks on your bike?
Yeah, I don't know yet. TBD. I can do whatever I want. It's the 4th of July. Isn't that what it's all about?
That's right.
No,
Yeah,
I'll probably stop by my mom's, stop by some friends. I don't know.
Any plans on your end?
We haven't decided where we're going to go watch fireworks. There was some conversation about Cedar Point because there's a big
that's a good
celebration
idea.
there, which looks like fun.
That's a good
But some people in my house, me and my husband, both have to work on Wednesday, so the celebration's not going to be too rambunctious, if you know what I'm getting
I
at.
got you. Yeah. And I'll be going to my friend Christa's house in the afternoon and then going home to do triage on my
On the
dog's
dog.
ears. Yeah.
Poor baby.
Vito the dog, who's our new dog, who's what we know of him is that he is
A dog.
a Yorkie mix. You're not really far
He's
off.
of the phylum dog.
Well,
Kingdom,
the
phylum, domain.
the rescue that we got him for, shout out to Safe Harbor in Vermilion. They said that he's a Yorkie mix, but they said that's our best guess. So he could be something else.
Don't they have those like dog DNA
They do,
things like
so I have one.
ancestry?
He's going to do it.
So I have one. Yes.
For yourself or for the dog?
Both.
for the
Okay,
dog.
good.
I have done it for myself. By the way, this is funny. We're wasting a whole lot of time.
We're rolling. Father Damian's, he said, you come out of this podcast and it just gets out of hand and it's long and everyone's all. I say
He
right now.
doesn't sound like that at all.
I know. Let's make the decision right now. 3 of us from here on out. Let's boot him.
We have to work with him all the time.
Oh, you're right. I just have to. I love Father Damian.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
But
And I think he loves me.
When I did the DNA, a little swab thing for myself, so my father's from Ireland, so I know what that side of the family is for the most part. And my mother's an American, but of Irish descent, but her father was French-Canadian, right? So that was what I was told, and I said, I am going to discover some deep, dark secret by doing this So I do the thing, I send it back, I get the results, 97% Irish. Even my mother's French-Canadian side, the migration was from Ireland.
Nice.
And then there's like a little bit of like Western European. Oh, wow, big deal. So essentially, I'm like the most white European person there could be. I think it's gone down. You know how it kind of they find more information.
Yeah, that's always strange. They're like, we've updated your genetics. I'm like, what?
No, they've updated their research.
Ability to do, yeah.
That's the beauty of science. There's not one right answer.
See, I did it, and my mom did it after me, and I think I was signed up to receive my mom's results, and I called her and said, hey, I got the results, and you're my mom. And she's like, of course I am. I'm like, well, no, I mean, I don't remember it. I was the youngest. I don't remember you being pregnant with me, but, apparently it checks out. Oh, and by the way, you're Irish and German and all that kind of stuff. But you're my mom.
You're my mom.
That's funny. All right, so we've all discovered that we are who we say we are. I'm Mike Hayes.
Oh, I'm Father Eric Garris.
And I'm Christy Cabaniss.
And this is Question of Faith. We'll see you all again soon.